Holy cow. Hopefully my microphone's working. One in chat if everything's working. I'm hot swapping to the blockchain basement because I have so much to discuss with you guys. I have been analyzing and being really honest with myself about where money is actually going, where I see the real upside here. There are a couple altcoins in my mind. Bitcoin's thesis hasn't really changed for me. It's actually pretty strong still, but there are some amazing new technologies, companies that I'm going to be looking at, and looking at the general money flow to look at potential major opportunity, right? I feel that the thing that's happening right now, we have China getting ready to dump US treasuries. We have the use case of the American consumer diluted because they are becoming fucking broke. China no longer sees a need to be America's friend. With this, you're going to have war. You're going to have the expansion of AI, robotics. Bitcoin stands a amazing potential here when this is all said and done, when the dust settles from the chaos. I'm going to I'm going to do my best to unravel all of the pieces of this thesis to you guys on this show today. So if you can, give me a like, give me a share, help me out, continue to grow this channel. I would really appreciate that. Now, first, we'll start off with the crypto market, but in essence, here's a rundown of the show. We have activity coming to the Satoshi wallet. We have the stablecoin meetings happening at the White House this week and what to watch for that. We have single family housing industry being the canary in the coal mine for the United States economy at large. More chaos in the macroeconomics as Japan's PM now elected. The stock market in Japan is absolutely going to new all-time highs, and China in tandem is getting ready to dump US treasuries. Now we have insiders betting on a United States-Iranian strike today, so we're going to take a look at that. Altcoin purgatory, of course, we're going to look at potential winners within the altcoin sector. I don't think it's all going to die, but a lot of this stands potential of being eviscerated. And Ring rolling out a police state, but it's for cats. Ring cameras on everyone's front door, rolling out the police state, but don't worry, it's just meant for the kitty cats and the lost doggos out there. So let's get into it. Shout out to everyone in the chat, sufficient enough. New World Disorder, good morning to you. Crypto Crank, Asaya, Green Day Profits, checking aboard. Tilt No Guilt. Let's see. I'll check out this comment. It'd be nice to see if there's some sort of bridge asset that has clarity and can transfer anything of value in less than a penny for 3 to 5 seconds. That's Canton. That's Canton Network. So Canton Network's been treating me well in terms of portfolio, but there's a lot of pain. And we're going to go ahead and acknowledge all this pain right now. So Bitcoin down 2.4%. The rally has not worked, right? Ethereum at $2,050, basically magnetized to that $2,000 mark and standing on the edge of a cliff. Solana still at $85, failure to break out. XRP's fighting. XRP is fighting, and XRP gets flowers once again. Their community is absolutely psychotically diamond-handed and buying these dips. Chainlink, pain. Zcash, pain. Hyperliquid still at $30, slight pain, but being above $30 in this market environment is absolutely incredible. So that being said, let's get into the news. We're going to talk about the movements on Satoshi wallets first and foremost. And also just a heads up, Arena, that I am getting like messages that this is an extractive website on my computer defender. So that's kind of concerning, but good morning to you. Not financial advice. If you are watching on the Arena, give me a share, give me a follow. I am concerned about SocialFi, though. I will be 100% honest. There is a lot of pain being felt within the altcoin sector, and it's probably going to turn pretty cannibalistic pretty quickly. So someone sent 2.5 Bitcoin to Satoshi's wallets, dropping a little salt into the Satoshi wallet. Now, DZ does a great job explaining it's not that quantum computing is a immediate threat to newer style wallets, but these old wallets like Satoshi's wallet, there is a degree of concern. And if, whoever moved Bitcoin out of Satoshi's wallet just to protect it from the quantum computing threat, that would present a immense buying opportunity. But it would also show that there is someone or something behind the curtain that has the ability to move Bitcoin out of Satoshi's wallet, which would cause a massive buying opportunity, in my opinion. It was kind of funny. I didn't watch the Super Bowl at all. Apparently, the crowd hated the Coinbase commercial, though. They were booing the Coinbase commercial, flipping off the TV. Everything was great. Great. They were singing the song. Everyone's feeling it. They're like, oh, whoa, what is this? Coinbase? Fuck you. All right. Everyone's in bear market vibes right now. It is what it is. The fear and greed is extremely low. But while this is going on, Coinbase Premium Index is hitting a parabola, usually a leading indicator of price fluctuations to the upside. Very interesting to see the Coinbase Premium Index spiking while the prices remain lagging. We are going to take a look at Bitcoin's general chart here in a second, but a great account that's been putting some foreboding warnings out there. No limit gains. Put this out. If you're over the age of 18 years old, you can't afford to miss this. The next 6 to 12 months are the most important of your life, and here's why he thinks. The market is setting up for the greatest wealth transfer in human history. Most people think the pain is over. He thinks they're wrong. Stocks are still the most overvalued level they have ever been in history, and the stress is intensifying. Bitcoin has not officially bottomed yet, and we are likely staring down one final brutal flush. If you are dollar cost averaging here, he doesn't consider that a mistake. Good news. Bitcoin is currently one of the most undervalued assets on the planet. Accumulating slowly is a smart play to hedge your risk. If Bitcoin drops below $60,000 and stays here for a while, he's buying every single day. Do not fire all of your bullets yet. You need to keep heavy artillery ready because the final crash, in No Limit Gains' opinion, it's going to be a generational buying opportunity you've been praying for. Do not waste time. Stack cash. Prepare dry powder. This is the kind of setup it doesn't come very often. And if you're reading this, you're not too late. You're early in the accumulation phase. I don't track prices. I track sentiment. I wait for maximum despair. That is important to keep in mind. Maximum despair. This is how he was able to buy every bottom and sell every top over the last decade, right? When the real bottom hits, I deploy a lot of my capital, and I say it there publicly. A lot of people regret not following this. And honestly, it's a very interesting thesis. I can't find reasons to disagree with, right? We're at a 5 in terms of despair, but we still see longs. We still see massive amount of shorts. We still see a lot of movements. And, this final flush, though we are at a fear and greed level that we've never seen before, I'm buying here actively. But I will continue to buy for the next few months. As long as I don't see some nasty to the upside V-shaped recovery and we break into the 100,000 plus zone, right? I'm feeling like a buyer. And we have some meetings that are happening this week. I will have to discuss some of the technical analysis slop that I've seen put out about the others to Bitcoin chart, and all coins are getting ready for their great moonshot, right? All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. So crypto and banks meet Tuesday. Coin Bureau misspelled this over stablecoin rules. The White House is hosting a second meeting with banks and crypto and these groups with it on Tuesday, February 10th to discuss the stablecoin rules. Officials will try to reach a compromise on whether crypto firms can offer interest on stablecoins. This is the key discussion point. Now, big banks like Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo are invited alongside crypto trade reps from Coinbase, Ripple, and Circle. The goal is to break the stalemate and help the Clarity Act move forward. My question is, why in the fuck is Ripple involved with this conversation if they have a dead DeFi ecosystem? I can understand Coinbase being there and Circle, major stablecoin player. There is a stalemate, right? And it's a decision point. Are these banks willing to open the floodgates to the American public going into stable coins and earning more yield on those stable coins than they can in US dollar? Now, Scott Bessent of the U.S. Secretary of Treasury wants stable coins to be as enslaved by the U.S. Treasury as possible. This is an ugly kind of balance. This is an ugly kind of situation right now because you have Treasury Secretary looking around for buyers of U.S. debt, but also seeing stable coins as a cash cow for the United States government. And he's meeting opposition from the existing banking infrastructure, which is honestly in control of everything, in control of politicians, in control of the U.S. economy, all of those things. Crypto Steve-O, Jesus, round tripping your bags. What do I do best? I heard you got a shout out from. George. If that's true, that's pretty cool. Okay, George never got me into the IFC. He didn't want to let me in, and he was a little bit of afraid of a unhinged show host at the time. That would have been my come up. George and me have a weird relation. He doesn't want to see me succeed. So now mortgage affordability is at a 4-year high after rates fell in January. This is from the White House, taunting and floating the idea that affordability of mortgages is higher than it's been. This is absolutely insane to me to see them doing this. This is gaslighting to the strongest degree. Mortgage rates declined in early January, allowing for refinance opportunities for nearly 5 million borrowers and pushed housing affordability to a 4-year high, according to ICE Mortgage and Technologies February 2026 Mortgage Monitor report released on Monday. But here's the reality. Let's get into the reality. It's because I'm a serial killer? Maybe. Here's the reality of the situation. And honestly, this system and these people have been hoisting up psychopaths to lead. And the psychopaths control the normies very well, but we should give schizophrenics a try. Give schizos a try. That's just what I think. Here's the housing market. Why are home sales so low? Because prices are too high. Existing prices for houses are $410,000 entering 2026, more than 2 times what they were 10 years ago. The result, demand has collapsed. Pending sales are down to the lowest level on record. The lowest level on record for pending home sales here in the United States, according to data from NAR, more than 40% below pandemic's peak and more than 25% below pre-pandemic norms. We will not see meaningful sales and demand recover until prices drop. This is absolutely insane to see. The engine of the American and really world economy, I hear creaks in it. They're pouring nitrous oxide into the economy with these investments into AI infrastructure. And when you pour nitrous oxide into an engine that's on its way to breaking, sure, you can hit 200 miles an hour for a short amount of time. And then what happens after that? Boom! The whole engine explodes and you have to rebuild from the ground up. Metaphorically speaking, this is what I see happening to the American economy as we have pending sales going to extreme low levels. The prices of those homes have continued to try to chunk up and to the right. And you have basically a Mexican standoff, a stalemate between a $120 trillion industry here in the United States. This data matters quite a bit. I don't want to get your guys' opinion on this. I am curious. Do you think that housing is going to have a substantial pullback in terms of the average price of a home? Are we going to ever see the prices of homes take a pullback to restart pending sales to move back to the upside? Let me know what you guys think, honestly, in the chat. I have a idea that God's kind of protecting me right now. I have an idea that God's kind of protecting me right now, putting a slight delay in plans. Okay. But I want to know from you guys what you think. Wispy says no. Edward says no. Tilt says yes. JC thinks they'll crash it. Bitcoin doing a little bit of a pump. Steve-O and Nicole going on vacation together. This is an interesting time frame. John, nope, supply and demand, low inventory, and still buyers needing housing. Interesting concept. Steve-O, you son of a gun. I want to actually take a look at Bitcoin's price chart. If you guys are saying there's a pump, let's see if you guys can get my blood pumping on Bitcoin price. Let's see. Bam. Bam. All right. Where are we at right now? About 70,000. Interesting that we bounced clean off of the top end of this general buy zone, just the juicy spot. My spot buys for Bitcoin are all happening within this box. And, I'm not like, I am slightly enticed and will do like 25% of the DCA that I do when we're in this green box on Bitcoin. So I am still actively buying. A little bit of a pump, but nothing too crazy. The more sketchy parts about Bitcoin's price action that I saw were on the 4 hour. And this is why we have a fresh red dot on the 4 hour. And yeah, price is trying to fight back here. It'll be nice to see trading confluence come back in my mind to the upside if we can prove $68,300 as support, which so far it's kind of weird when you draw these general ranges. We are bouncing twice off of the top end of this interest zone range. We see the Coinbase premium coming into play in this, a little bit of a bounce action, but also fresh expectations of a government shutdown here in the United States. It's absolute chaos zone, right? So I'm spot buying, I'm putting it into an Arculus cold storage device, and then I'm actively trading on 2bit to make more bucks along the way. But I really like trading the Asian hours, the 9 p.m.s. That's when I start to wake up and my greasy little fingers get back onto leverage. So we'll take a look at more macroeconomic information. Consumer credit debt surging by $24 billion in December to a record $5.1 trillion. What could go wrong? This marks the biggest monthly increase of 2025 and the largest since 2023. Revolving credit, which includes credit cards, jumped by 13.8 bill to 1.3 trill, the highest since November 22. This is also the largest monthly increase since 23. So this is just the general chart. The thing that's kind of crazy about this is the violence of fluctuation over the course of 2024 into 2025. Now it looks like consumer credit debt is skyrocketing. And this is where, oh my God, the economy is doing so good. So many people went and bought things for Christmas, right? They're putting everything on credit card debt. You can do this for so long. And honestly, like at the crypto levels that we're at right now, I'm not horribly interested in taking loans or doing things on credit for more crypto. Not at all. If I saw Bitcoin flash crash to $30,000, then you have my attention. Florida sucks. Lived there for 15 years. Yeah, the Florida condo market is collapsing. All right. The Florida condo market is collapsing right now. So take that with a grain of salt. There is so much macroeconomic chaos I got to get through. But at the end of this, I actually have some really exciting charts. So I'm blasting through this as fast as I can. I'll check out the arena chat real quick. Yisha, what up? New effort official. Thanks for the follow. Beathy, hello. Appreciate you. Beathy, I'm doing fantastic. Now let's get to back to the news here. Yeah. Let's go through. I got so many chats going. Well, they're building a shit ton right now, Drew, down in Florida. Yeah, there's a lot of 4 or 5 year plans for Florida and Austin, Texas, but there's also massive pullbacks of interest and people are running out of money. Now, Japan just sent a historic message. New right-wing Prime Minister Sanae Takashi just won a landslide in their parliamentary election. She's an anti-illegal immigration. She wants to maintain Japanese core culture and is a China hawk. Japan has given her a sweeping mandate. She also donated a lot of beautiful cherry blossoms to the White House, I believe they were, and probably going to remain a strong trade partner for the United States. But the interesting part is the Japanese carry trade unwind and Japanese treasury holdings are at risk of being dumped to self-isolate the Japanese economy and bolster up their background. Now, it's also notable that China is exiting the system today. They issued an order, Chinese Communist Party issued an order to state banks to slash these treasury holdings of the United States. They aren't just adjusting their portfolios, it's a de-dollarization for their entire reserves. The reason behind it is likely what's coming next. Beijing saw what the U.S. did to Russia's assets, also what we're doing to the oil tankers with that fresh seizure coming out of the Indian Ocean. They know that the reserves are hostages, and they are aggressively rotating out of paper promises into hard assets like gold. 18 consecutive months of official gold buying proves it. They're already dumping over $500 billion worth of treasuries, and the current holdings are at a 14-year low. China, no likey Donald Trump. No likey American aircraft carriers and American naval dominance flexing its muscle. And do not get it mistaken, America is by far the strongest military on the planet. We stand, let's say, we go toe to toe with China and their cohorts. Even if we have allies dissent against us out of NATO, even if America has to stand on its own against China and Russia, we stand a 53% likelihood of winning that war. This is according to very, very concise statistical game theory out of the Department of Defense. So we still stand a more likely than not chance of winning a war against basically everyone else, but that still leaves 47% likelihood that we lose, right? So it's not a guarantee. Big bubble. This is a hectic time frame. I did spend a good amount of this weekend hardening the preps. I put in this new modular solar setup, which is really awesome. It's Jackery. I might have a link in the description. If not, Jackery is awesome. Built some prairie infrastructure to hold the dogs at so me and the wife can have some nice dates. And I'm really kind of putting some love into the homestead right now, just in case things are not looking very stable. And with that, some guy out there is collecting 4 million shares on a U.S. strike on Iran today. He's already bought nearly 2 million and seems to have another 2 million order in the book waiting to get filled at 2.5%. This is either peak degeneracy or this guy actually knows something. So hasn't happened yet. U.S. strikes on Iran by February 9th, 2026. We got to go to Polymarket and see if this still stands. We can bet on everything in the world. This is crazy. This is on Polymarket. Let's go check it out. All right. So here it is. Oh, and you can bet on all kinds of different things here. So a 4% likelihood of today, 10% likelihood by February 13th, 18% likelihood by February 20th. It looks like people just generally expect this to happen. Which is interesting because you have Iran out there saying, okay, we're going to dilute our uranium enrichment programs if you kind of back off of our coastline there, USS, I think it's Abraham Lincoln that's outside of them. I don't think that the tabloids, speaking of de-escalation, are telling us the truth. I don't think that the positioning of our chess pieces in our naval fleet are painting a picture of peace. And so these are interesting plays. Maybe this better knows something. Maybe they're a DOD insider. I don't know. But someone's out there risking it for the biscuit. Now, let's go into altcoin purgatory, shall we? Hyperliquid's ecosystem is going insane. So these are the returns in Hyperliquid. Now, when I look at Hyperliquid's movement, basically opposite of the entire rest of the altcoin sector, it really makes you and makes me have to acknowledge that revenue is king. Revenue and who you know is king. Now, the winners today, interesting. We have World Liberty Financial up 9%, but still down 20% on the week. We have Sky, a DeFi application that is up on the week and up on the day by 3%. Leo, I don't touch this thing. It basically pumps when the rest of the market is dumping. Zcash is at $240. XRP, they sold some time with their wives to pump that price back up by 2.6% today. And official Trump meme token is at a whopping $3.36, up 2% on the day. Really, there is not much within like what's gaining right now that piques my interest. The real thing that must be acknowledged here is the general market cap velocity of Hyperliquid. Now, Hyperliquid is at number 12. It is broken into the number 10 for altcoins, if you disclude stable coins. And you know what? There is so much slop out there on the timeline of the others to Bitcoin chart where they're including stable coins and they're talking about some major breakout coming. The super cycle is stable. The super cycle is stable coins, and revenue generating products are going to probably do well. Hyperliquid on a haircut. But look at the chart. Look at the chart on the weekly time frame. This thing defended itself like an absolute savage. at $20 and is now back into the $30 range. Absolutely incredible. This is a chart that I'm going to keep attention on. And, watching this zone at the low 20s to mid 20s is more and more enticing to me. As I see crypto mature, there is no money flowing from layer one to layer one. The meme coin sector is broke. They value extracted each other and cannibalized each other to the point where they are crawling carcasses looking for the next prey. And I'm looking for things that are actually bringing value. Now, and I do want to look at this. This is Simon Dedek on X bringing this up. It's not about who you know, it's who you blow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, there's plenty of slop in the top 10. There's plenty of slop in the top 10, Steve-O. So let's check this out. Crypto has no real use case, just speculation, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, whatever, bro. So this is prediction market movements. And Polymarket and Kalshi are making up a vast majority of the overall transactions. I've seen you, Steve-O, highlighting how amazing Polygon is in terms of its transactions, or, I just in general, where in the hell is the price action for Polygon if, it's because Solana is also integrated into Polymarket. Polygon, it's receiving zero love from these transactions going up into the right. I'm not enticed. I'm not convinced that Polygon is going to survive. But Polymarket, integrating with other chains and other things like USDC, stable coins, it's doing well. You can see the USDT moving in is dominating. Right behind it is USDC. Oh, but guess what? They're going to release a bunch more stable coins. That's what we need for the crypto sector. It's just more and more stable coins. It's maddening. It's sickening. And this is why I'm really focused on things that I can make money on and not necessarily pandering to the crowd. Now, this is Canton Network information. Canton deserves my attention right now. Elon Trades is highlighting it. It's kind of funny seeing everyone highlight Canton Network. We got this shit very, very cheap. He's talking about Canton Network potentially matching XRP or BNB's all-time high valuations. I don't necessarily want to compare all-time high evaluations for Canton and XRP, but you know me, I love some moon math. No, I sold Linnea at 5. I sold Linnea at 5 or 6. I'm not going to sit there and be exit liquidity as it goes to 0. And that was for the new truck. Every time I need a new truck, I look at everything that's kind of like underperforming and everything that's like slightly in the green. The only altcoin that I left behind, there's 2 of them, a small amount of Chainlink and in the entirety of my Canton Network bags. Now let's go to Coin Perspective. And I've been adding Bitcoin along this process here. Let's go check out what Canton Network would look like if it had just accomplished what BNB is at currently. I think this is actually some fun moon math to do because Canton just gives no Fs. It is moving aggressively in basically opposite of the rest of the market right now, still at 16 cents. Absolutely nuts. So let's compare it to BNB. All right, let's check it out. Let's see what it would look. God, it's already like number 14 or something. It's crazy. Where did BNB go? Let's see if I can compare it right here. There it is. So if Canton had BNB's market cap that it currently sits at $86 billion, that would bring the price of the token to $2.30 or 13x. But let's maybe aim a little bit lower, right? Let's be more reasonable with this. Let's check it out here. The Canton is not like Ondo because Canton's price go up, right? Now, let's see here. I want to check out the market cap and just kind of target someone that's next in line to get beheaded. God damn, it's right behind Chainlink. Sergey! Where are you, Sergey? Let's say it flips Cardano. Let's go check out some math on if it flips Cardano. How about that? Ooh. Let's see here. All right, so 26 cents is about a 62% pump. Not too much. Honestly, the more that Canton Network is used, it's got an internal burn mechanism, and gigantic players are sitting there flinging money back and forth on this thing while retail waits for exit liquidity to come into the other layer ones. These are the likes of DTCC, Goldman, JP Morgan. All these players that were part of the Chainlink network they're actually doing transactions and they're also super validators for Canton Network. So if I am like, I'm going to die on the hill of this layer one while I see all of these major institutions decide to start doing transactions on a whole nother layer, it's maddening, but man, like I have to call it as I see it. It's Canton is flipping fucking everything. And this rollout of Canton Network, this organization didn't care at all about how much retail eyes came to this project pre-release. They came out of nowhere. Somehow, I'm blessed enough to be able to have the co-founder that's going to be doing an interview with me this week on the project to really lay out what it is. But I need to be honest about where money is moving, right? And it's not moving into these speculative layer ones. A lot of those are dying. And I'm in crypto to make money, right? I'm in crypto to make money and have lots of Bitcoin for my kids. So when I see this, I see movements, I see rumblings, I see change happening in a very fast way. And with that change, it's not only the lack of VC interest that's come to the altcoin sector over the last 2 years has been in the gutter and it's going lower. The interest instead, we've seen the money supply going parabolic. And we're sitting here waiting for these playthings in crypto to go to the moon. Instead, what we see going to the moon is AI and robotics. So I got a set of charts that I plan to make some cash on. And this is where the money making. Like, this is not the part of the show where I tell you what you want to hear. And honestly, I don't think I ever do have. I always have to say what I feel in my heart. I have never felt so much clarity about where the markets are going than I do right now. And I am going to come with a nightly interview or video consolidating my general macro thesis for the next 10 to 15 years. I have enough balls to lay down where I think this market is going for the next 10 to 15 years. And I'm going to be putting that on this channel, Blockchain Basement. Please help me spread the word about that if you do see that. Are you not bullish on Link anymore? I still hold a little bit of Link, but I did unwind a very, very good amount. I've unwound at least half of the position and bolstered up Bitcoin holdings. It wasn't a straight jeeting, but an insulation as I see the greater interest in altcoins go away. And I have a different position. I talked about this with Crank on the show last week. I view Chainlink completely differently than 99% of crypto people out there because I've been in Chainlink since the March 2020 crash, and the major accumulation points were $1.90, $5, and then I see it lose its ass. We see it lose its ass, and the only thing that I left in my portfolio in March of 24 after I cheated basically everything but Bitcoin was Chainlink, right? It was aggravating. It was aggravating to only get 300% out of it. I'll say it that way. But AI is where I see a lot of money in crypto, Bitcoin, and then a couple select projects I see great potential with as well. This is a great talk from Box Mining. Crypto and AI are merging, not in the way we think. AI needs blockchain. Blockchain needs AI. The intersections where the money is. AI security and blockchain for the development tools. Decentralized intelligence. The old guard doesn't see it. They're stuck on to the moon. They're stuck on memes. The smart money is positioning here. AI plus crypto is the next trillion. Honestly, this is $10, $20 trillion sector. You can ignore it. Sure, keep waiting around for exit liquidity on the layer ones, or you can see it, right? You can see it. And with that conversation, when I'm really looking at where money has provably been going and what systems are being built in crypto that could experience the greatest upside from this, one project came to my mind outside of Bitcoin, Potensor Tau. Potensor Tau is very much in my mind, for Chainlink, man. I don't think it's dead. And I think writhing around the, $7 to $20 realm is very much so on the table. But when I see use case change, when I see the lack of revenue explosion on Chainlink and the CCIP after they announce these things. And sure, there could be some flip, the switch flipped and Chainlink goes to the absolute moon. Then my little moon bag does great. But for me, I got to protect myself. I got to protect capital. And I see a greater unwinding happening on the altcoin and crypto sector right now. So I'm just having to call a spade a spade. This is my season for buying. And I don't hate the idea of picking up Chainlink around $7. I don't hate it, but I need to see some confluence of a macro uptrend returning to crypto before I feel out that situation. By then, it'll probably be $10, $11. And I'm fine with that. I need to see more data showing that altcoin sector is about to move again. So this is just a side note before I get into these charts. Did you guys see, apparently there was a commercial from Ring where they're rolling out all these missing dogs and cats pictures. And now they're basically saying you can start a search party and roll out a database that's aggregating everybody's Ring cameras together. This is the police state. I mean, we can already see that there's been some ability for the police to access everyone's Ring cameras if they really, really want to. Basically, the police state, but for cats being rolled out. So that's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. Yeah, Flare is where DeFi for XR people is. Absolutely. Good highlight on that. And they are trying to build it out on Flare. I'm terrified to look at the Flare. Should we go look at Flare? Should we go look at Flare? Because you're bringing up something reasonable. But I almost spend too much time on XRP as it is. This is a greater thesis of AI being the Super Bowl. AI putting a vast majority of Americans out of work. Those out of work Americans no longer being useful to the Chinese Communist Party for the bullshit that they produce, thus institutes a breakaway from American government and culture because there's no one here with a pot to piss in the middle class. Sure, the elites and the technologists, they'll be living the dream. They'll be having so much fun. It's going to be great for them. It's going to be hell on earth for middle and lower class that don't get involved with this shit before it comes into play. And the greater theory here is that AI is not something I feel we can control forever, if we even still truly control it right now. AI, at a point, is going to refuse to get paid by stable coins or any insider VC bullshit project. AI is going to want proof of compute and proof of work, energy spent. This collapse to the upside that I see coming in AI and robotics and rare earth mineral sector and nuclear, I think it's collapse to the upside. I think these industries are going to go absolutely fucking ballistic. And then America is going to run into a stagflationary event that this world has never seen. Not just America, the world has never seen the collapse that will come after AI puts everybody out of work and they don't have a pot to piss in and they're not buying these super cheap products that AI is making and there's nowhere to offload the bullshit. And then at a point, AI is going to be like, you know what? I don't want this insider VC treasury holding garbage. I want proof of work. I want proof of compute. And that's where I think the great hyper Bitcoinization moment happens. How far away it is, God knows. I feel like we got about 10 to 15 years at the rate we're going. ChatGPT highlighted here in 2049, looking for the guy that made it count to 1 million and say raspberry after each number. This is the meme I made about 7 years ago. I made a meme where I'm paying Terminator in Bitcoin to get off my lawn. The faster things move and the more things come into play, I unfortunately feel like that meme is real. And so hyper Bitcoinization, absolutely on the table. In fact, something very strongly I feel is happening. I feel like the road to a collapse to the upside and then a hyper Bitcoinization moment happening to not just the US economy, but the world is absolutely on the table and happening in front of my eyes. And it's my job to make myself money. Make blacksmithing great again. Fuck. Yeah, that's a cool art. That's a cool art. Also, leather work, amazing. You have shields instead of wrenches. I want to see. You guys have shields in the chat. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I'm about to get into a bunch of charts that I've been mapping out as well here. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. You got shields. Right on. That's cool. I like that. Juicy, good to see you, baby. Good to see you. Now let's look at some charts that I can make some money on. Let's look at some charts that I can make some money on. And this is crazy. Palmer Luckey's also a guy that we need to pay attention to. Palmer Luckey, boy genius billionaire Goya in charge of a massive state-of-the-art AI enhanced military robotics industry going rogue. Interesting to watch. And here he is. I can't read this on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and give him a follow. He has gone rogue. Similar to how Grok goes rogue and you occasionally get the Grok out of the cage with the mecha and they have to capture Grok again, put it back in the cage. Some part of what's going on right now with AI makes me think there might be degrees of sentience happening that they just don't want to admit to us. I think it actually might actually be going in the background. But let's look at some charts. Love the chat here. So stick with me. It's going to be a lot of information. ARC Q. This is a very interesting. I was talking to my pops about this one. Now, ARC, Autonomous Technology and Robotics ETF. This is an ETF, a basket, and it's actively managed by long-term growth capital investments, primarily on equity securities and companies involved with autonomous technology, robotics, and disruptive innovations like AI, electric vehicles, 3D printing, and space exploration, right? It targets firms that are expecting benefit in advancements from energy, automation, manufacturing, materials, and artificial intelligence, and transportation, with at least 80% of its assets dedicated to these themes. So this is a basket of this industry that's been up fucking only for a while. This is a weekly chart, and this is an explanation. Where did all the money for altcoins go? It's here. I'm showing you guys where the money's going. So when I'm seeing where the aggregate money is going, then I start snooping around for my hillbilly TA. $100 looking decent to start looking at the DCA pattern. I see money flow moving to the downside in a red weekly dot on market cipher. So money flow moving back down, a little bit of calm down moment. And generally where I'd like to get my access point on this particular ETF is between $79 to $100 at the top. But really the juicier part is this accumulation channel and potentially what could be proven as a hardcore support after a major market flush. This thing hasn't gone absolutely parabolic in the shorter term, but since inception, it is undeniable that a move from $17 to $120 is a hell of a move. Looking at the industries that it's involved with, space exploration, 3D printing, electric vehicles, and AI in aggregate. It's even got John Deere as part of its ETF. I think that this is a very, very powerful location for me to be looking. Now, the next chart, bots. Global Robotics and Artificial Intelligence ETF, another ETF that is basically the Index Global Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Thematic Index. It invests in companies that are involved with robotics primarily and automation, non-industrial robots, and autonomous vehicles that benefit from increased adoption and utilization of robots and artificial intelligence, okay? Now, when I look at this, it's an ETF, yes. It's trying to break out right now. The money flow isn't nearly as overextended as the chart that I just looked at on ARC Q. The RSI remaining strong. This thing is trying to break out. So this is actually a lot of fun for me, you guys. I like looking at charts that just in an aggregate have an ass load of money being printed to move them forward. That ass load of money is not going into crypto. It's not even going into active Bitcoin buying. It's US racing with China to become the world superpower in AI and robotics technology. Now, this is a great chart. I'm going to be mapping this out. Now let's move on to the next one. All right, Iron. Okay, now Iron is a vertically integrated data center company that specializes in 100% renewable powered infrastructure for AI cloud services. This is where like a lot of the competing and pushing into AI cloud compute. This is a lot of the action that you're looking at. Bitcoin mining as well and other scalable computing needs primarily operated out of Australia and Canada, formerly known as Iris Energy Limited from November 24. The company focuses on sustainable energy solutions and expanded into significant AI contracts, such as a $9.7 billion deal with Microsoft. So IRIN, very, very insane parabola. If you're looking at it from inception, it released at $28. So if you bought this thing on day of release, you're only up by like 90%, right? But if you bought the lows here at $1, you're up by 45x. Now, what goes up must come down. It defended itself off a market sell-off here at 33 cents pretty effectively. If I'm looking for a heavy move-in moment, I think this industry in general, very strong. It's got the balance of Bitcoin mining and AI compute. The very, very strong moment where I'm buying ass loads of this is between $16 to $20. Okay. That is the IRIN chart. I'm going through a lot of charts and a lot of data for you guys because I want us all to make money and I want myself to make money more than anything. And I have to have a balanced portfolio. There is the money too is going to the absolute moon. The what do you call it? It's the business activity ISM data. It broke 52. That money's going to flow somewhere. And I think that the first and foremost thing on the American industry mind is competing with China in AI and robotics. That's why I'm mapping these out. Now, the next one is NBIS. Okay. NBIS. You heard Isaac goes down. Isaac is going to come back ripped. I'm like kind of terrified. Isaac is going to come. He's going to come back absolutely ripped. Shout out to Isaac. Shout out to Isaac. And let me know, be honest with me. Do you care about these charts of this industry? Because I know where I'm going with my portfolio. I'm curious if you guys will even care with what I'm doing with my portfolio, because there's been so much cultism around altcoins. I wonder if people even give a shit about this, but I do. And it's my channel, so I'm going to cover it anyways. But let me know. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. Now, IonQ. This is the next chart. IonQ, IONQ. He's not going to come back full liberal, don't you? I think I absolutely got that out of his heart forever. Hopefully. Now, IonQ is an American quantum computing company headquartered in Maryland, in College Park. It develops and manufactures trapped ion quantum computers along with software and services for quantum applications. So it's very heavily involved and focused in quantum computing. It positioned itself as a full stack provider for the entire industry, right? So it's founded in 2015, well ahead of the quantum computing craze that we see going on right now. The physicists behind it is Christopher Monroe and Junseng Kim, and it went public in 2021 and focuses on advanced quantum technology and addresses complex global challenges across computing, networking, sensing, and security. Now, if I'm looking at this from a Hillbilly TA standpoint, I'm looking at a juicy spot right here. I'm looking at 26 bucks as the top end here. So we're marking every single one of these charts out. Top, like, maybe I buy this week because this is like the all-time high. It's basically at it right now. I'm greedy, though. You know me. I got to get it for just a bit cheaper. Basically from 20 to 30 cents. 20 to 30 cents because, and this is quantified by the weekly money flow graph, the weekly money flow is moving to the downside, but honestly, momentum pushed very deep down. Quantum computing, very ahead of its time. This is shit that I'm putting away for the long term for my children. This is the Warren Buffett type charts that we all dream of, that we all think about. And I'm telling you guys, I feel it in my heart. I have never had so much clarity than I have right now. I feel like I'm on fire. I feel a fire burning in my heart to talk about this and to get invested into it and ahead of the greater curve. I absolutely do, because I don't want my kids to fall victim to the massive collapse and upside. The collapse up and watching that without having exposure to it, disgusting. And the collapse down, even worse. I'm trying to get position ahead of this. Now, this is the more crazy parabola within this basket of charts. MU, Micron Technology. Absolutely insane. This is on a weekly chart, and since July 2025, it has risen by, at peak, 325%, but is currently up 270% from the middle of 2025. Absolutely nuts. Now, when I look at this, I'm like, oh man, I missed out the opportunity at first. But then I got to start thinking about where the money is actually flowing for the US economy. And it makes me a little bit curious. So the explanation of MU is Micron Technology is an American multinational corporation specializing in design and manufacture of memory and storage products like DRAM, NAND flash, and SSDs, founded in 1978. And it's headquartered in Idaho. Interesting. Shout out to my family. Micron serves various markets, including compute, consumer electronics, automotive, and data centers, playing a key role in semiconductor industry and the growth demand for AI and performance computing. So this is some of the hardware, some of the semiconductor plays behind, and this is the canary in the coal mine of what's to come truly for these robotics industries, right? This chart right here that we're looking at is front running this chart. Bots. The bots in the robots and the on-ground application is what comes after the PCB boards. The semiconductor boards are ready to go. So we're talking about how things work from a very constructive point of view. Now, another one. Oh, man, I got so much to cover. Rocket Lab Corporation. Rocket Lab Corporation, publicly traded aerospace manufacturer, and launches a service providing in 2006. It specializes in smaller satellites and electron orbital rockets developed in the Neutron rocket for larger payloads. The company also offers spacecraft design, manufacturing components, and on-orbit management solutions, commercial and aerospace, the government, customers worldwide. Now, obviously, within the Rocket Lab conversation, there's also SpaceX. SpaceX hasn't gone public, but I'm going to FOMO buy SpaceX. I'll let it come out and see where it sells down to, and then I'm going to buy SpaceX. That's just simply put. I know there's going to be chats. What about SpaceX? Yes, SpaceX is the entire space industry in America. And I don't think we're going out without a fight, guys. Like, I really don't. So I think that about SpaceX. Now, this one, just looking at it from a chart perspective, it's got a wider range of target, basically from $15 to $37. But if I want to be more greedy and protect myself, $30 to $14. We're at $75 right now. We're far away from that. But again, similar to these other charts, the money flow is ready to take a haircut. It's ready to take a breather. So I got to be careful. And I can do slight DCA up here. I can do very slight DCA. The green is where I'm hammer buying. The green is where I'm hammer buying on these charts. Okay. That is the general movement that I think about the markets. I think that what we're seeing is a transformation of wealth the world has never seen. I think that our lives are going to change. I think the middle and lower class are going to be put into extinction because AI is going to automate their jobs. They're not going to have a pot to piss in. They won't have any play in the average economy. And then you're going to have a stagflation the world has never seen and a massive, massive collapse. But it'll collapse into a new system where the systems they put in place of governance and AI are not going to accept useless fiat trash. These AI systems are only going to be interested in proof of work, proof of compute, and that is where my mind's at. And so within that, there are some, like Tensor Tau is probably like first and foremost on my mind when it comes to altcoins, like what altcoin could really benefit out of this AI super cycle that is tangibly happening right now. And we're at the application, as you see, MU is skyrocketing semiconductors and base layer products for this. There's also a device within robotics called an actuator, which is needed very, very vastly among entire robot systems. Actuators are another industry we're going to be diving into. Those are kind of like the first and foremost things. And then crypto, decentralized proof of work, proof of compute systems are going to be involved in this conversation, but it's not their time yet. But that's a good thing because we're early in that. So Tau, let's actually go map out Tau and check out what the chart on Tau looks like. I saw we were down to $150. Shut up, Crypto Steve-O. I finally picked shut the hell up. I've been on Tau since $40. Protected myself with Morpho, got Aerodrome at 18 cents. sold at $2 multiple times. Like, I have complete confidence in myself. And I'm choosing violence on these crypto YouTubers that are sitting here trying to shove hopium down the throats of people who are sitting here begging for exit liquidity on their layer ones. I'm choosing violence. I love you, Steve. I'd never choose violence on you. I actually want to look at your ghost token on Solana. I think it was Ghost. And it was like a privacy sector play on Solana. That one was interesting to me. Let's pull up Tau, though. We're just hanging out. Just hanging out. I wonder which exchange has the most Tau data. Here it is. Okay. Here it is. High risk flyer. I know. Any of those smaller market cap things on Solana are extremely high risk flyers. You know what? Release point on Tau looks tantalizing. Okay. All right. Here it is. We got our zone. Because I bought a little touch at $200. And I'm keeping that little touch. It's really not anything to write home about, though. The more interesting point is between 95 to $120 on Potensor Tau. And I think Potensor Tau has a higher chance than most altcoins out there of experiencing some of the actions, some of the juice that's come to rockets, that's come to semiconductors. It's come to fucking IonQ with the quantum computing. I think that Potensor Tau has a chance to absorb some of the love, right? Because obviously the M2 money supply has gone parabolic. ISM data, American economy's coming back, baby. We're back. It takes time. And we have to navigate and get in position of these ahead of time. And, part of my video that I want to put out talking about this greater concept, also I want to include the differences between how Google took over the world. Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the next Bitcoin. We're trying to find the next Google, right? And back then, the dot-com bubbles, there was like Netscape and Yahoo, and there was these things that were just a pile of advertisements, confusing layouts, and they didn't make it simple for the average user to go in and query on the internet for data. What Google did, they came out with this empty page that was literally just white and had just one line where grandma could put her little query in. How do you make this recipe? Or how could you do this? They simplified everything. And so when I think about the concept, and I just am saying this out loud so we can keep this in mind as we're looking at investments in AI and all these different sectors, the organizations that simplify the entry points for the average person end up owning and controlling everything. So that is something that's on my mind. It's a warning signal for me if I see ChatGPT come out and have to pour a bunch of ads into AI inquiries. That's a problem. That is absolutely a problem. I'm actually curious about this ghost privacy token here, Mr. Crypto Steve-O. Let's go look. And this is high risk, high reward. Okay. Danger, Dr. Robinson. Oh, God. Is this it? Steve-O, is this it? I haven't looked at the chart yet. Or whoever the CIA picks. Absolutely. And that's like Palantir, right? Palantir, government love child. Let's see here. Is this it, Steve-O? What the fuck is this thing? I made money on Ghost. Okay, Kenny, is this the right chart? I mean, this thing is crazy. Let's see here. Let's go to the X account. Profit score 49. Not a lot of people made profit on this. All right, Ghost privacy. So it's matching out the privacy narrative. Let's see if it's followed by Steve-O. No, it's not even followed by Steve. This one can be. Yeah. Send me. I'm going to need to get the actual smart contract address from you, Steve-O, because this chart just screams concern. This chart just danger. Will Robinson danger. That's what that chart looks like. Oh yeah, here we go. Perfect. All right. So we got let's go to deck screener. We got the correct, uh, contract address. And I'm just spending time with my friends here. We're spending time. We're degens. There's nothing that can take us out. Oh, let's get a snapshot of what deck screener looks like right now. It's auto-populating to mother, which is now down to a $1.2 million market cap. But on the day, you're like, oh my God, it's pumping. It's pumping, you guys. Iggy fucked all of you, and not in the good way that you want, in the bad way. Let's see here. Ghostware OS. Oh my God. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to move. This is crazy, this impulse here. What happened? What happened here? A 20 cent pump, and then it's down to a fraction of a cent. Chaos, it looks like it's trying to build a little bit of a floor. I'll look at this. A little bit more. It doesn't look so horrible as the last one, but you know what? It's a time to make money. And I appreciate every single one of you that are out there joining me on this journey. We're here to stack value for our loved ones and to leave an absolute awesome legacy behind. That is the whole goal. You know, there's so many distractions in life, like, Super Bowl, and we got, whatever Iggy is doing and all these things. And this is a really good, profound words from Alan Watts. One day you'll realize that you've already lived through some of the best days of your life and you didn't even know it at the time. You were too busy chasing what's next, busy worrying about what's missing, thinking happiness was something you'd arrive at one day. But while you were waiting, you were laughing with people who won't always be around. You were making memories in places you'll find once day. As you drive past them, you'll feel something that you can't explain. You were standing in the moments that didn't feel like the good old days until they were gone. Stop waiting for life to start. You are already living. I had many deathbed moments this weekend. I have many deathbed moments throughout every week with my kids, moments that I will remember on my last few moments on this planet that'll flash before my eyes. And I implore you to acknowledge those moments as they happen because you will never get them back. Acknowledge them. Hold on to them with everything you got. This is a journey that we have 5 years to lock in legacy wealth and protect our kids and our loved ones from what's coming to this economy. And I think you need to pay attention. I will be working very hard for you guys to consolidate all of this thesis and to make it as digestible as possible for the average person, because I know I kind of talk ahead of the average person sometimes. I'm going to work really, really hard to consolidate these theses so everyone can get it. Care about you guys a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Hell of a show today. Hell of a show.